On to the Eagles and the 49ers.
Finally.
Game opened about pick, but that was available for maybe less than 10 seconds.
Yep.
Really settled at 2. Now it's a 2.5. Totals at 45.5, although it started ticking up today. I bet Eagles -2. I bet over 45.5.
Oh, Chad, what do I do here? There's so many ways to go. Do I want to be the obnoxious asshole Eagles fan?
Be who you are. Be who you are.
I've been trying so hard not to be, though, all season, because I know people already hate us as a fan base. We are the worst. I know we are. Yeah. Did it feel good beating the shit out of a divisional opponent? Yeah, Chad. Don't get much better than beating the shit out of the Giants at home, especially where I live in the tri-state area. Family members, good friends, they're all Giants fans. And I heard all week that Daniel Jones had more playoff wins than Jalen Hurts. So thank God they're tied now for playoff wins, because I don't know if I would have made it this offseason, Chad, as an Eagles fan. It would have been a long offseason. The Eagles lost at home to the Giants. So looking at this matchup, it's not that it's bizarre that pros are coming in on the 49ers, but I felt like they could have just waited. Like if they just would have just waited a little longer. We saw a couple books touch the 3. We would have got 3s and 3.5s on the 49ers, and me and you would be living in heaven. Because most people, like you just said, most people got the Eagles at either a pick or their money line really early, and then get into a 3. And this matchup would have been epic. Like this number should be 3. I make it 3, and I might be overrating Purdy now at this point. Like I might have over-adjusted, where I might be looking like an idiot come next week, where I should have just went all in on the Eagles. I don't know. There's something about this kid, man. Like I always talk all the time, not that humans have superpowers, but we do have unexplainable things. And there's some people that are just lucky. And fucking Brock Purdy is lucky, dude. Like watching that game as a Cowboys backer, how many times are Cowboys guys gonna be hitting the chest or have a ball fall in their lap and they don't catch it? So this kid's been extremely lucky. But the biggest thing to me in this matchup is this rookie is now going on the road. I've seen him only play 2 road games. One was against Arizona and their backup, and the other was against the Raiders and their backup. And surprisingly, both those teams actually played well against this 49ers team. And we're not going to talk ad nauseum about it, but I'm definitely going to bring up a lot of trends that favor the Eagles. The biggest one is a rookie in a championship game, Chad. Have you heard any of these stats about these rookies in this championship game? Okay.
I have not.
So we've had 4 since 1990. This is from my good friend Evan Abrams. So they are 1-3 ATS, 0-4 straight up. In 2009, we had Mark Sanchez, lovely Mark Sanchez. He actually had the best game of all these rookies. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. They were plus 7.5, the Jets. They lost 30-17. Next up, Joe Flacco in 2008. He had 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He was plus 6. They lost 23-14. 2004, Ben Roethlisberger. He actually had a pretty good game. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They were plus 3. Pretty close, right? No, they lost 41-27. And Sean King, our lone coverer, Sean King, he covered Chad because he was plus 14. He had 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. His team won 11-6. So what you're taking away from
his
here
team
is
lost 11-6.
Yes. Sorry, lost 11-6, but covered the 14. So if you just go through those numbers, there's a reason Brock Purdy looked like shit last week, right? The competition steps up, and he's a rook. So looking at this as it's shaping out. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Brock Purdy did win in Seattle in that Thursday night game. I must have missed that when I was looking through. Just looking through it, it's if you're backing them, if you are going to back the 49ers, you sure as hell better be on this under, because that's your only chance. Your only chance, literally reading these numbers out, is all 4 of these quarterbacks had really good defenses. That's exactly what got those young quarterbacks to the championship game. I hate this matchup for the 49ers. I get what they're saying is like, okay, we can stop the run, all these other things. And all the hate, the Eagles haven't played anyone, even though the NFC East had the most wins, I believe, ever in football for a division. But yeah, Eagles haven't played anyone. It's one of these things where I get the love for the pros on this 49ers team. He's been very profitable with them. Back in Purdy, they're cashing big checks off of it. It's just like the Joe Burrow thing. Like A lot of these pros have been back in Burrow all season. They've been making good money off it. It's the same thing here of, I get it. I get the Purdy love. It's way too much love at this point. Like, this kid has been incredibly lucky. Now, the big pause is they played terrible and they still dominated Dak and that offense last week. But I feel like we talked about it. Like, without Pollard, if Pollard was still in that game, it wouldn't have been as terrible for that Cowboys offense. Like, once they had to turn to Zeke, the run game was gone, and there's no one you're fear catching the ball in the backfield. That's how you attack this 49ers team. We already talked about that's how the Chiefs dominated this team and put up over 40 points against this 49ers team. So my early bet, I love the over and I love the Eagles. I still like the Eagles, and it's one of those where I'm not going to go so hard telling people to take it here because I'm hoping pros come in and bet this back down to 2. Like, again, 2.5 is a key number. You'd be shocked, but it really is. So I have no doubt I love the Eagles here. It's going to be a surprise to no one. I'm probably going to be all over them for the Super Bowl as well, just because there's no defenses like our defense in the AFC other than Baltimore. Baltimore is basically the best D-line I could think of in the AFC comparable to the Eagles D-line, which, if you didn't know, they set the all-time record for first defense that 4 guys have over 10 sacks. So if you can get a futures on the Eagles line, if you can get that 3.5 right now for them against any AFC team, I would take that line. I think the Eagles are going to be undervalued heading into the Super Bowl. The love is right now for Joe Burrow, and if Mahomes can pull up that upset, that's where everyone's going to be betting. So this Eagles team will just be undervalued. But the shocking part is that this isn't staying at 3. So that's my big pause, Chad, where I might be too close to it. I might be discrediting Purdy too much here. But I've just seen it time and time again. History repeats itself. A rookie going through a championship game, it's too big. And now you're putting this kid in Philly, one of the most hostile environments in football. Man, I just don't see it working out for them. So it's one of those where the line makes me nervous because it's so tempting at 2.5. It feels like too much of a gift. But we already talk about it all the time. 2 is such a key number. I will not be shocked if somehow this game lands on the 2.
I can't think of a stadium on the West Coast. I guess Seattle at its best, where as a fan, I would be worried about the environment in the same way I would be worried about playing in Philly or playing in Chicago.
I would say the old Raiders stadium with the baseball field in it.
Yeah, playing in Oakland. That would have
been something.
You know, we talked about this on Green Dot Daily this morning. You said your favorite, you loved the over in this game.
Yeah.
And I did too. And I couldn't put my figure on it. It was just one of those things where I looked at the number. It felt really low. Eagles are an incredible offense. The trend is to play the under. And I could not figure out why do I like this over? I need, break it down. Why do I like this over? You just told me a lot about the Niners and Purdy.
Look, why is it over the play here?
Yeah, why do I like it so much?
2 different reasons, but the biggest one would just be, I think both defenses right now are not peak overrated, but it doesn't get more higher than this, where people are just terrified now of this Eagles defense. They're like, well, Purdy's going to have no time. He's going to be getting dumped the whole time. Where it's like, this is what Shanahan lives for. Like, him scheming up against this Eagles defense, he's going to find our weaknesses. And I promise you, if I can spot a couple weaknesses, he can spot them way better than me. So to me, the Eagles do have weaknesses on defenses that the Giants could not exploit. 49ers offense can. Like, they have one of the best tight ends in football. That's something the Eagles struggle against, is big, strong tight ends. Our linebackers are smaller. They're like, if he throws it up in the air to Kittle, that's going to be a free first down every play for them. Another thing we struggle with is running backs catching the ball in the backfield. Not only do they have McCaffrey, if he's banged up, I really don't think that's a big deal to them because they have Debo. Like, Debo, he's like the sports car they've just had in the garage all season. Like, they've never needed to really take it out because it's like, we got McCaffrey, we need a running back to do something, and then we got Ayuk on the outside now. They make our wide receiver plays. So to me, the over is the play mainly, though, Chad, because of the value. Like, this number should be 47. It's 45.5. Like, the public, I'm looking at the Action app right now. They're all over this under. All the money is pouring in on the under.
It's weird.
Guess what? The books just moved to the 46, brother. So I think the pros are in line with us. And yes, these defenses are good, incredibly beatable. It's schemed up right. Both defenses have major holes. I know for a fact Sirianni can copy exactly the West Coast system that McDaniel ran with the Raiders. And we saw how dominant the Raiders were able to move the ball against this 49ers defense. Same thing with Andy Reid's offense. It's literally a spread it out West Coast system. Eagles run the exact same thing. That's why if you noticed, our tight ends get involved a lot. It's the same thing as Kelsey's getting involved in the Kansas City system. It's one of those offenses that's really based around you spread everything out. And that's what we're going to do against this 49ers team, where arguably the best defensive player in football, well, two defensive players, I guess. You could say Nick Bosa is, obviously, but Fred Warner, to me, he's everything I love. Like, he is so incredibly smart, hits so hard, and can play coverage. Like, that play he had in that game, running down the middle, getting in front of CeeDee Lamb, was just fucking crazy, dude. There's like two linebackers in football probably that can keep up with a guy like CeeDee Lamb running a 4.3. So I just have so much respect for this 49ers team. It's tough to pick and talk shit about them, but I got to do it. And that's the defensive weakness. Like, you spread them out, teams can beat them. They have not played an offense like the Eagles. Eagles are, I don't want to say historically the best run team ever, but you can look at the data. There's no teams in history that have had more 150-yard rushing games, 150 yards before contact rushing games than the Eagles in NFL history. Like, Kelsey, All-Pro, we all know is Hall of Famer. Lane Johnson didn't give up a single pressure last game with a torn groin. Like, it's crazy how good this offensive line is. So we talked about it last week. Nick Bosa is incredible. Did you see his name pop up much in that Cowboys game, Chad? Because you can scheme it. So I get the love for it, but that's the difference to me is the Eagles have four guys that can get pressure on the O-line. You know, the 49ers probably have two really good pass rushers. So I love the fact that both defenses' strengths can be schemed out by both these offenses. So that's just, to me, why I kind of want to be in the over here, where I know the public's going to be so heavy on this under. It sucks it's already hit 46, Chad. I was hoping we'd get down to 45, 44.
Yeah.
Just the pros aren't going to let it. They're going to be on this over. So the public, if you're just simply trying to fade the public this week, it's honestly a pretty boring, easy week for you. Literally just back the Chiefs, you back the 49ers, you back the over in that Cincy game, and you back the under in this game. The over in this game. So we don't obviously bet that way, but it's no surprise we're looking at these numbers right on Tuesday. I think the books, their needs are going to stay the exact same. I think exactly what we're saying right now, the public's already kind of made their stance. We know exactly what they're going to do the rest of the week here. So the only thing that might change is what Chad touched on. Mahomes comes out to practice. He's running, looking good. That Chiefs number could come back down and the over could go back up. But everything else, like this Eagles 49ers game, only crazy movement I could see is this number come down to 2, 1.5, or going up to 3.5. That'd be it.